1 2 1 2. I go by the name of DJ What, and you're now listening to the original Jeek Podcast. Let's go.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, cut for me.
Oh yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
Fresh.
Yeah, making me itch.
What up, Jeeks? This is your boy, the original Jeek, the one and only RockinMrMagic, and welcome to another episode of the original Jeek Podcast. Glad to be back. Glad to be making another episode here, and we're going to have a lot of fun, y'all. A lot of fun. So first, let's just jump right in to this episode. We are going to start with a little what are you PWC? What are you playing, watching, and or creating? Oh, man. So I've been playing. I haven't had a lot of time to play a lot. I ain't gonna front. I wish I had more time. It's been tough to find time to game. Things come up. You know how it is. Things come up. I wish they didn't, but things do come up. So I have not been able to play as consistently as I would like, but I have been able to find some time to play a bit. And in that time, I have played some Destiny. And yes, part of it was spurred by the essentially the end of life, the end of updates announcement by Bungie. A little saddened by it, but it's been 12 years since Destiny 2, so can't complain a lot. I mean, it's been a while, and the majority of it has been fun, so I can't complain. I am a little disappointed in that they're not just opening everything. I wished, and I believe they should, but they won't. But they should, in my opinion, open up every single raid that they had, and everything that wasn't a gameplay option should, in my opinion, be opened up. And they're just for the remaining players to continue to play. So the fact that the Leviathan raid isn't coming back and some of the others, to me, is a bit crappy, but I still enjoy Destiny. I'm looking forward to getting through this last Moments of Triumph and getting that final Moments of Triumph title. I've gotten a lot of them. I've gotten a couple of t-shirts of the Moments of Triumph. It was one of my favorite things to accomplish. I have two. I've got 2 or 3 of the Moments of Triumph Destiny t-shirts, and they each have my gamer tag on the shoulder. So I enjoy that. Hopefully they do that for this final one. I would like a end of life Moment of Triumph t-shirt. And I'll gladly spend the $30 whatever on that t-shirt as well. But when I'm not playing Destiny, which is most of the time, I have been playing some wrestling games. And started a new game. I've been playing WWE 2K24. Why? Because it was free through PlayStation Plus. And I mainly been playing it to build cause, created wrestlers. I had not, that I hadn't done that in a long time. I kind of been salty on the WWE Pro Wrestling games. They've been doing a lot of rinse and repeat. I really felt robbed by my purchase. I think it was 2K22 or 21. I spent over $100 on that NWO bundle, and it was just really, it wasn't as good of a game as 2K18 was, and it wasn't as good of a game as 2K14 was. So I've just been really, really off on the 2K WWE games. But since this one was free, I was like, you know what? I'll download it, see how it is. And I've had a lot of fun building a lot of creative characters, creative wrestlers, and I had forgotten how much fun I did enjoy building my own roster out of the creative wrestler tools. Um, some things are not where like they were in some previous versions, but that's to be expected. Overall, it's a pretty solid creative wrestler, and I'm having fun doing that to create that roster to then put it to universe mode and try to have fun building storylines around the creative wrestlers. Um, you know, I I kind of really don't have a good time doing universe mode with uh, you know, the real roster. I've always had more fun and been able to have more creativity, in my opinion, with the creative wrestlers because you can just do more and put more imagination behind who those characters are, how they would react, and such. So I'm looking forward to finishing my roster. I'm only going to do one show. I've got 22, 23 something odd calls created over the past couple of days, and I'm probably going to stop at around a roster of probably like 30 something because I want to have a decent amount for each title. Um, I'm just going to be mainly focusing on world title, IC title, women's title, and tag titles. I'm probably not going to put a lot of emphasis in the women's tag titles. I don't think I'm going to get that deep into creating um, for women's tag titles, even though I love tag wrestling. We'll see. We'll see how much time and patience I have. But other than WWE 2K24, I have been playing a hacked ROM of a classic wrestling game, and that is WCW NWO Revenge. If you're old enough to remember, it is one of the best wrestling games ever created. Was that on the N64, and there is a ROM hack for it called WCW NWO Revenge Starcade Edition. As someone who owns WCW NWO Revenge and have the ROM for it, I was able to add this hack to my existing ROM and play it in an emulator. As a Mac user, I use EMU. What is it called? OpenEMU. Yes, I use OpenEMU, which is, I think, fantastic. Supports so many platforms: NES, Super NES, N64, PSP, Sega Genesis, Sega Master System. There's TurboGrafx 16. There's a litany of emulators that it has built in. It's fantastic. So I've been playing it on that, and it plays great. It feels great. It's got additional wrestlers, obviously, that were not in the original game. And so far, I've played through the Cruiserweight Championship. It's not a career mode, but you play through. You pick a Cruiserweight. You play through a bunch of the Cruiserweights, and then you fight the Cruiserweight champion and unlock the wrestler that is the Cruiserweight champion. In the original game, you unlock, I believe it's Ultimo Dragon. In the Starcade Edition, you unlock the Cruiserweight champion of 6 of the NWO. So that's really cool. I believe it has the somebody notable that was missing from the original game was Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, the Four Horsemen. The Horsemen are added into this version in the Starcade Edition. And I believe I haven't played them, but I believe that Arn Anderson and maybe Mondo Michael are the tag champions that you have to unlock. I think Flair is the world champion you have to unlock. But I haven't gotten there. I haven't done them yet. But from like the shadow silhouettes, I believe that's who it is. I'm going to go just kind of in, ascending order, no, descending order. So I'm doing I did the cruiserweight. I'm going to do the TV title next, then the tag titles, then the US title, and then the world title at the end. So we'll see who I unlock along the way. All right, before we move on too farther, so today's episode is going to be mainly about a review. We're going to be reviewing the Netflix series Man on Fire. But we have some quick hits we're going to get to before we talk about that show. So these quick hits, and I promise you, I know if you've been a listener of the original Jeek Podcast, a lot of quick hits in the quick hits section haven't been such quick hits. They've kind of been like low, deliberate punches. I'm working on that, all right? I'm working on shortening up these quick hits. So hold me to that, y'all. All right. So first quick hit is 66. That's right. I said 66-year-old NFL Hall of Famer Darryl Green is attempting a comeback, but not to the NFL. Not the NFL. He is attempting a comeback to make Team USA's flag football team. This team will compete at the World Championships in Germany this August 2026. This was reported by AEP Sports. It was reported a couple months ago, but to me, this is too impressive to not talk about even now. Now, Darryl Green qualified for this. He had to qualify for this stage of being able to try out. So he qualified to get to this stage of the process through a digital combine that the description was impressive training results for the 66-year-old former NFL cornerback. Now, if you aren't old enough to recall who Darryl Green was, let me give you a little background. Darryl Green was one of the fastest men in the NFL, arguably the fastest. I'm talking, up there with, the Deion Sanders level fast, blazing fast. Okay. Darryl Green played multiple seasons. He was the 28th overall pick by Washington. He won 2 Super Bowls with Washington, a 4-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, and a member of the NFL's 100th anniversary all-time team. Prior to his NFL career, when he was in college, he was an All-American track and field sprinter, earning those honors back in 81 and 82. So, Darryl Green, peak level athlete. Impressive that he's been able at 66 to put himself physically in position to compete for a spot on the national flag football team. I hope he does it. I would love to see what he's able to do out there playing flag football. It'll be phenomenal. So, hey, I kept that one quick. Next quick hit. The MLB, and not just season, Doug, that wouldn't be quick, but specifically, the MLB this 2026 season introduced the automated ball strike, also known as ABS, challenge system to the during this 2026 season across the MLB. This system essentially helps call balls and strikes, or I should say that. Let me rephrase that. It allows you to challenge called balls and strikes. The system relies on the existing ball hawk. No, I'm sorry, not ball hawk. I'm thinking football still. It relies on the same Hawkeye technology that the MLB was already currently using for its stats data, its StatCast data. So we're not talking about a brand new technology. It's something that's already been in existence. We trust this system, and then they have implemented it in the ABS system. Now, people, including myself, have been calling for computerized, technology-wise strike zones for a long time because some umpires, Angel Hernandez, being a major contributor of just outrageous and outlandish and terrible calls, just make the game tough. Now, over 100 years of tradition of having your umpire behind the plate, your other umpires out in the field, and the element of human error are always a part of sports, whether it's NFL referees, NBA referees, Major League Baseball umpires. There's always a human element. So it's hard to try to convince old-timers, hardliners to remove the human element from the game. And I think this implementation of ABS is excellent. So if you don't know how it works, ABS only allows batters, pitchers, and catchers to challenge balls and strikes or plays. Only those ones can initiate a challenge. No one else can. That means managers, other players, nobody else can initiate a challenge but a batter, a pitcher, or a catcher. Completely it. Each team starts the game with 2 challenges. Not uncommon. NBA has the same thing. NFL has the same thing, 2 challenges. Teams will lose the ability to challenge if you challenge 2 times and both of them fail. If the game goes into extra innings, each team, regardless of how many challenges they had prior or not, start each extra inning with a challenge regardless. Now, the ABS zone, strike zone, is set as follows. Now, I got to read this because I don't have it on memory. The width is 17 inches, identical to home plate. The top of the zone is set at 53.5% of a player's measured height without cleats. The bottom is set at 27% of the player's measured height. The strike zone is captured as the ball passes through the middle of the plate, not the front. In MLB, challenges will not be permitted when a position player is pitching, which is not as often. So early on in spring training and early on this season, as we're almost at the All-Star break here, there's been a lot of challenges. And overall, the challenges are mostly successful. And overall, 53% of calls are overturned by challenges. 2,383 calls have been overturned, 2,103 confirmed, 4,486 total attempts. Now, for batters, the percentage of batters challenging calls, batters right now are at 47% success rate. They have had 982 at this time of recording overturned to 1,098 calls confirmed for a total of 2,080 attempts. Fielders, being your pitchers and your catchers, are at a 58% succession rate. 1,401 calls overturned, 1,005 calls confirmed for a total of 2,406 attempts. So in my opinion, largely, ABS has been successful and is proving in the fact that more than half the calls are wrong. and they've been overturned because they were wrong. And here's the thing about some of the examples I've seen, um, particularly ones like John Boy Media does a great job with their baseball coverage. I've seen a lot of these videos about ABS. A lot of these calls, these aren't where the ball is like nicking. Sometimes they are, but most of the calls I've seen, the overturns, the ball is not like nicking the strike zone. Sometimes this ball is an inch, 2, 3 away from the strike zone. Like it's not close. And so they just, the batter just like they tap their top of their helmet. I believe that's just a general signal. I think everybody taps the top of their helmet to challenge the call. And by and large, the players are right. So I really like the fact that this is here. I wish we could retroactive this because, we could have had some perfect games that didn't happen because of bad calls. We could have had some really, some things would have changed in history had we had this. But alas, we can't move backwards. We can only look forwards. And I'm really happy with what this means for baseball. This, this is fantastic because if anybody is screwing up or doing something that they shouldn't do, um, if you think an ump is on the take, you think an ump is cheating, ABS is going to keep that from happening, particularly on the balls and strikes. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think baseball has been overdue for this. And I'm so glad that Major League Baseball has finally implemented this and doing it without removing the human element and doing it in a way that's not disrespectful to the human element. So I think I got that one decently short. The last quick hit here is some comic book adaptation news. Reginald Hudlin is developing the Phantom, the comic, into a live-action television series. Now, if you heard that sentence and that did not mean anything to you, let me break it down. This is a quick hit for me because I love the Phantom. So, first, if you don't know who Reginald Hudlin is, Reginald Hudlin, who is set to direct and produce this Phantom series, he has credits that include Candy Cane Lane, the documentary Sydney, and he also, as a writer, has credits as writing for Black Panther by Marvel Comics. Yes, that Black Panther, and he is a co-owner of Milestone Media. Yes, that Milestone. Yes. So Hudlin is set to, like I said, direct and produce this. And the project's being developed under King Features, which manages the Phantom comic property. That, to me, is great news. That means there likely will be a strong continuity to the comic version of the Phantom. Now, there have been several comic versions of the Phantom, as in 10 years, the Phantom will be 100 years old. This is the 90th year of existence for the Phantom, dropping in 1936. It's one of the oldest costume comic book heroes, predating Batman and a lot of other ones. So, this, to me, is a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Phantom. I grew up reading Phantom in the newspaper comic strips growing up. I went and saw the Phantom movie starring Billy Zane. It's not a good film, but I enjoyed it anyway. Catherine Zeta-Jones looks absolutely fantastic in the film. And I'm a big Billy Zane fan. So I had fun with the movie, even though it's not that good. I'm looking forward to seeing what take that they do on it. Are they going to start in the 1930s era? Are they going to go Phantom 2040, go more futuristic? Are they going to go somewhere maybe like late 90s, early 2000s and build into it? I don't know. And here's the thing, the Phantom, like Batman, is a mantle. Um, so there have been a lot of these men who have been the Phantom. They're if my memory serves me correctly, they're all related. Um, and they get their abilities through this power rings and trinkets. Um, but it's a mantle that's passed on. And so, the locals, um, kind of, have, folklore around it because it's like, oh, people are like, oh, I swore I killed this guy. Well, and then it's like, oh, he shows up again. Well, probably, the bad guy did kill the guy, but then, another one took his place because no one outside of the inner Phantom people know that it's a mantle and not just this same guy who, this ghost who never dies. I think it's, I forget what I'm talking about how big of a fan I am. I forget like the tagline thing to it. It's been a minute since I've read Phantom. Okay, I should say I was a very big fan growing up. Haven't been able to keep up with it as much, which is part of the reason why I'm excited for this because it will bring a big nostalgia hit while being something new and fresh. So I am excited for what Reginald Hudlin going to do with this version of the Phantom. See, I kept that one quick. But you don't have to keep things quick if you want to have arguments, debates with us here at Jeek Nation. Did you know we have a Discord? We do. We're on Facebook, which a lot of you probably found us on. But one of the best places to debate, share, is on Discord. Join the Discord. We're putting a lot of focus into Discord here in 2026, and we would love to engage with you on Discord. Check the link in the show notes to join our Discord. Debate, share some memes, fantasy book, talk comics, sports, everything that we do here at Jeek Nation. Before we get to our main event topic, if you do a lot of this debating and talking like we do on this show, you might want to start a show on your own. And the best way to do that is with Zencastr. You don't know about Zencastr? Zencastr is the ultimate web-based podcasting software solution. Web-based software solution. That's right. And it provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content all from one dashboard. Zencastr records video up to 4K to give you the picture-perfect quality that your podcast deserves. Zencastr will also distribute your video podcast in 1080p to all available video podcast players. Zencastr's podcast their post-production process, that takes the headache out of audio production. You set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. Ready to start? Go to Zencastr.com and use my code JeekNation, JeekNation, and you will get 30% off your first 3 months of Zencastr Professional. I want you to have the same easy experience I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Check out the link and the code JeekNation in the show notes. And now, the main event. All right, y'all. So the main event is here. We are here. Main event topic. And again, we are going to be talking about Man on Fire. Man on Fire is a Netflix production dropped this year, 2026. And it stars Yahya Abdul Mateen II as the titular character John Creasy, Billy Bouguet as Poe Rayburn, Scoot McNairy as Henry Tappan, and Alice Braga as Valeria Mello. Now, some non-spoiler information about this television show, 7-episode Netflix version of Men on Fire. It currently has an IMDb rating of 6.7 out of 10. It has 58% on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter and 64% on the popcorn meter. Well, what do we give it here at the original Jeek Podcast? Well, at this moment, my rating of Men on Fire, well, it's not on fire. I currently, and I'm stressing currently, rate this show a 2.5 out of 5 Jeek Nation logos. That's right, 2.5 out of 5. Now, I stress currently, and I'm going to preface my rating with this so you understand why the rating is as it is. So, I did enjoy the show. I did. But I could have enjoyed it better. So please do not do, I repeat, do not do what I did going into this show. My rating is low because I went into this show thinking it was a prequel to the Denzel Washington movie. It is not. That mindset nearly completely ruined this show for me. That mindset had me second guessing a lot of the decisions made in the show, and it had me expecting things to happen that were not going to happen because I'm thinking this all takes place prior to the movie. So the reason why I had that thought was I try to avoid trailers because trailers, probably for the past 10, 15 years now, trailers show too much. They reveal too much of what's going on. So I try to avoid trailers. The only thing I really heard about this was it was some type of promotional material about it. They were talking to Yahya about playing John Creasy. They were talking about, Denzel doing it and what it's like, playing the character after Denzel. And I think, I kind of didn't want to hear too much because I didn't want to be exposed to too much about the show. I want to enjoy the show as it's presented. I don't want preconceived ideas or preconceived notions. But unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. So because of that, and they were talking about Denzel, my mind automatically assumed that this was a prequel, and it's not. This is a completely unique reimagining of the Man on Fire story. I believe this is the third live action version. There was an original film, and then there's the more widely known Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning version, and now we have this version, which, in my understanding, obviously is modernized, but I believe it's more closely related to the original story than the Denzel Washington-led film is. So because I had that idea that this was a prequel story, I wasn't able to enjoy this as much as I probably would had I not had that idea in my head. So that's why I stress that this is currently a 2.5 for me. because I do want to rewatch this with fresh eyes and not having all these things I'm expecting, twists I'm expecting to happen that weren't going to happen. And I kept looking for things that, and kept on, I was analyzing things and saying, well, why did they do that now? Because this is supposed to happen later. So why would you do this now? And, you know, that ruined it. It didn't ruin it, but that severely hampered my enjoyment. So if you haven't seen this yet, especially if you have seen the movie, but if you haven't seen the movie, watch the show. I would love to hear what you think about it. If you've seen the movie, please understand this is not a prequel. Okay. And now we're going to get into the spoilers, though. You have been warned, officially warned, warnings all around. We are going into the spoiler zone. I don't know how else to warn you. I guess I'm going to go a little Star Trek, a little red alert would be of a use. A little red alert would make sense because you are being warned. Spoiler zone. If you get spoiled beyond here, yo fault. All right. So, I like the show. I said that my rating should not be that. Don't rest upon my rating whether you watch this or not. If you enjoy Man on Fire, I do encourage you to take some time and watch this show. If you know Yaya is excellent. And this is the second show of his I've reviewed in 2026 since I earlier did Wonder Man. Yaya's been a busy man. So it's like I didn't enjoy some of the things, but because again of the mindset. So I'll give you a quick synopsis over the story. So some of the things are similar are that John Creasy is an excellent soldier. His pal Rayburn and him are friends. They were soldiers together. Tragedy struck Creasy, and because tragedy struck Creasy, he subsequently developed that drinking problem that people who are familiar with the film are aware of. And Rayburn brings him, like in the movie, to try to get him a job to help him out. Now, this Rayburn is younger. They're than the portrayal that we saw with Christopher Walken. So this Rayburn is he and Creasy about the same age. He is married. He has a teenage daughter named Poe. He has a young son, and they are living in Brazil. The family has moved around a lot because since he got out of the service, he's essentially a mercenary, a high-paid, highly requested, highly in-demand mercenary, but he's pretty much a mercenary. Security consultant type mercenary. And, wanting to help Creasy out, Creasy kind of fails the job audition for the Brazilian president. He's not able to perform a field test, putting the gun together, taking it apart, putting it together, he doesn't do it because he's drunk. And similar beats to the film again, in that unfortunately in this version, Rayburn dies. The building that he lives in, large building, multiple homes inside of it. It's blown up, and the daughter Poe happens to not be amongst her family when they die because she snuck out to go to a party, and on her way back, and she was almost at the house, and she was on the phone with her dad, who knew she snuck out. then, was on the phone with her dad when he was blown up and killed. So for me, initially watching this, I was like, oh, well, he's going to show back up because I'm thinking this is a prequel. And he ain't really dead. Yeah, I was wrong about that. He did. Rayburn did. So Poe, 16-year-old girl, becomes the emotional attachment in this version of Men on Fire that John Creasy connects and bonds with. And I'm going to say it's not bad. The bond is nowhere nearly as strong as the connection made between Denzel and Dakota Fanning. And honestly, that connection truly makes that movie really special. So you have really two really good actors. I don't think people understand how good Dakota Fanning as a child actress was. I have to say was because, in my mind, I still think of her as a child. She's like 30-something years old now. So, yes, so it was. This version of Creasy and this girl, Poe, they do have a bond, but like I said, that emotional attachment it's definitely not as deep, partially because, Creasy doesn't take a true parental role the way Denzel's Creasy did. It was clearly evident in that movie that, Denzel, and they made him, with the swimming, the nun in the film was like, today you are her father. So that bond, that paternal bond, her being so important to him, him helping her with her homework, all that, they had a lot more chance to show. I shouldn't say had a lot more chance, but in the movie, they really focused and did an excellent job of showing a bond and the connection and the growth and the opening up of Creasy. They really didn't do that much in this show. Creasy and Poe don't spend a whole lot of time together in this show. There are some scenes where they're together. He stresses her to trust him, and obviously, it is different because Peeta in the movie, she was younger. You can build that different type of trust. Teenagers, especially when you're the drunk friend of their just murdered father, despite the fact that they were friendly to you, and you were their dad's best friend, uh, they're not going to cling to you that same way. So some standoffishness makes sense. Just the type of bond they would have would be different. It would definitely be more of a big brother, little sister type of connection, a sense of duty to protect her because she's the last remaining part of his best friend's family, and he wants to get her back to the United States safely. Compared to, again, Denzel had Peeta's mother to return her to. Oh, he saw both the parents, but so that again was, a really, a difference. There's no family to return her to, the immediate family at least. And unlike in the original story in both Men on Fire movies, we don't have a family member revealed as being a part of, this plan. It's not a kidnapping thing. This is a, more political of an issue that Rayburn got caught up in. Poe inadvertently got herself caught up in. We do have betrayal, but it's more of, again, in the covert ops, spycraft type, and I'm not trying not to give too much away. And then, of course, the setting is different, being in Brazil compared to Mexico. One thing that the show did well, was they use these extra side characters a lot. I really only mentioned Alice Braga as Valeria Mello. Um, she becomes an integral um, supporting character to Creasy in helping him in his efforts to protect Poe and get her back to the United States. A young teenager around the same age as Poe named Berto also comes into play, and I forget the character's name, um, but this gangster with a heart of gold also becomes a part of their makeshift crew, which was a nice different twist to Men on Fire. Again, because compared to the movie versions, we're talking about lone man out for revenge, and he's doing it all pretty much alone. Um, Denzel's character had a little help in the reporter, the journalist, and de facto through her, um, you know, have hooking up with the. He wasn't a cop. I think he was kind of like the Mexican version of the FBI or whatever. He was a federal officer. So, but they weren't directly, planning, things, and they weren't getting shot alongside him. Like, it was mostly just Creasy on his own. This one is not just Creasy on his own. This is Creasy and Poe and friends. Because this is not Creasy trying to get Poe back. Really, this is Creasy trying to transport her out safely. And that difference was cool. That part I thought was good because, again, and maybe my thought of it was enhanced because I was initially in the mindset of this is a prequel. So I was like, well, obviously they can't retread everything. They can't have another girl get kidnapped, and then him have to save her because that would be just like the movie. But I did like the difference, the variance in that he's trying to get her out. Um, Action, Men on Fire is an action movie. Denzel has a lot of really good action in the movie, and Yahya did not disappoint in his physical action in this film. Um, I would say it's not, I don't want to call it average. Um, it wasn't standout action. I would say it was above average, but I can't recall now that I'm thinking about it intently. I really can't look at an action scene and say, "Hey, man, that was so good." That action scene just blew me away. So, uh, good action, but not anything that I can say blew my socks off. Wow, that was a very old term, but nothing blew me away. You know, nothing had me go, "Oh." Nothing hit like that. But again, I'm not trying to degrade it. The action was good. And like I said, I believe the action was above average, but nothing really, really stuck out. One thing I will say is that one thing I like now that I really think about it is that, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but like Hollywood tends to have this trope where people just don't want to listen to the hero when the hero gives instructions. And while there's a little bit of that, it, it's not to such a huge degree, as well as the fact that when it does happen, it's because it's an idiot teenager. And teenagers are going to do idiot stuff because they're teenagers and they're at an age where rebellion for no reason is just what they do. So it's not completely out of it's not out of reality where this person's doing something that your main character says to not do when they're like they should know better. It's not a grown woman who should know better going out and do this, or a grown man, or somebody who really knows better. It's a teenager. Also, some of the times it happens, the teenager is with another teenager. And when you got multiple teenagers, you quadruple the idiocy. So especially on TV. They're gonna, teenagers are 4 times as idiotic as they are in real life on TV. So when you have 2 teenagers in a scene, they're going to do something that any sane adult would say not to do. That's just how it goes. So that flowed fine, and I thought that was done well. I think the actors, everybody did a good job. Nobody, even the actor who played Rayburn, he has like only, I think he only is in the first episode. Yet he leaves a very um, solid impact on the show, and honestly, he leaves you. Even if I didn't think that this was a prequel, I thought that there's no way this guy stays dead. This guy's too good of an actor to kill him off in the first episode. Like, this guy's coming back, right? Like, because and the way he dies, like he's like on the out, he's like got to get into his car to leave. So like that plants that seed of like maybe Daddy Rayburn, maybe he somehow survived. So, and again, the guy's too good of an actor to me. Like, hey, you're not going to have this good of an actor. At least maybe not bring him back at the final episode, or at least the penultimate episode. Like, he's coming back, but he didn't. So the actors all did a really, really good job in this show. Um, again, my rating is because of a messed up expectation. I think Yaya did another good job. Um, I don't think this was a miss for him. Yaya is hitting for a great percentage in 2026 with the things that he's in that have come out. I really think after giving some time away and then rewatching this, I'm probably going to come out at a much higher rating, because I'm going to be able to really appreciate what is being shown to me as a completely fresh take on the story, and not be bogged down by the nostalgia of Denzel and Dakota Fanning. So I encourage anybody listening, watch the show, give it a shot, come at it with clean, fresh, no expectations. And I really think you'll enjoy the show. And I really think you're going to come away with a higher rating than my 2.5. Again, only currently, until I give it an honest rewatch. So that is going to conclude this episode of the original Jeek Podcast. And it's a little shorter than normal. And you know why it's shorter than normal? Because I actually kept my quick hits quick. I'm getting better at this here, though. Yeah. Quick hits are quick. That's the whole point of them. Not for me to drone on all the time. They get a little longer when you have a guest. Quick hits are going to be quick up in this piece, baby. Yeah. All right. That's it for the original Jeek Podcast. I want to thank each and every one of you who chose to press play on this episode that we have created to bless your ear balls. I am your host, the original Jeek, RockinMrMagic, and I could not do this show without you listeners who continue to support the show by downloading, pressing play, sharing, rating, and reviewing. We appreciate every single action that you take for this show. We truly do. But please continue to do those things. Please continue to listen, comment, rate, and review the show. You can do it on your podcasting app of choice. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, personal favorite of mine, Good Pods. We're on Castbox. Pretty much wherever you listen. And it really helps other Jeeks find us. Also, when you're done, again, check out our Jeek Nation community platforms. We have a Facebook group. And again, we have a Discord. There will be links in the show notes. We'd love for you to chat with us. We're hoping to do more, again, on Discord, especially because we can do more interactively on Discord, like chat with you all while recording the show, take questions before or after the show, to make things even more interactive than they currently are. All links are in the aforementioned show notes. Search Jeek Nation wherever you are. Come hang out. If you can't find us for some odd reason, email us at jeeknation@gmail.com or just search Jeek Nation or just message us on Facebook at Jeek Nation. And until next time, peace.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut. Come on, clap for me.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
This is DJ What, and you're listening to the original Jeek Podcast.